Kyle Jantjies has spent his career turning imagination into impact, helping aspiring authors, youth and leaders find their voice and bring bold ideas to life. A passionate speaker on creativity, innovation and youth empowerment, he believes deeply in the power of what if. Today he's here to challenge you to stop competing on what you know and start leading with how you think. Please welcome Kyle Jantjies.
Thank you, Kevin. Ask questions. If you are making notes, I want you to write those two words down. Ask questions. In a world where AI can answer almost every single question, knowledge has become less and less valued. Nobody cares anymore about what you know. No one cares about how fast you can build things. No one cares about your technical expertise because AI can do it faster. So stop leading with what you know. You have to start leading by how you think. And you do that by asking questions. When we were children, that was all we did. We asked questions. I have a 5-year-old baby sister. She's the cutest little thing. All she does is she asks questions. 70% of her speech is questions. Her name is Emma Rose. Buddha, why is the sky blue? Buddha, why do dogs like to bite? Buddha, why must I wear a jacket when it's cold? Buddha, am I your favorite sister? Yes, Emma Rose, you're my favorite sister. All she does is ask questions. I work with a lot of schools. Primary school kids, I can tell you right now, they love asking questions. Why are there no more dinosaurs? Sir, did you ever see a lion? Sir, how do cars work? They ask you questions on top of questions on top of questions. But as soon as you get to the high schools, you will find that those questions disappear. They don't want to ask questions anymore. They just want to go home. They are tired of the day. Somewhere along the way, they lost their curiosity. They lost their desire to know things. And because they lost that, they lost their imagination along the way. Because let me tell you something about schools. I was a high school teacher. Schools focus on one thing: memory. That's all they care about. As long as you can memorize what I told you and regurgitate it back to me, I know I did my job, and then I can show it there and get my paycheck. That's all the schools care about. But they lost the imagination and the curiosity along the way. And if you're going to be moving forward in this world, if you're going to have youth who wants to be innovative, creative, imaginative, they need to start asking questions, leading by how they think. No one cares anymore about what you know. They only care about how you think. And you do that with the two words: ask questions. I will tell you right now, high school kids are abusing AI. They abuse it like nothing. Because why not? AI has all the answers. All you want is answers. I'm going to give you the answers from AI. AI is in my pocket, so easy. There's nothing you need to do. So it's very simple. Use AI and give it. Can I shock you a little bit? Even the doctors are using AI. There is an AI app created specifically for medical doctors to help them diagnose patients and give them the treatment necessary. The medical doctors are using AI. Lawyers are using AI. The scientists are using AI. The professional speakers are using AI. There's an AI bot that you can hire to come and speak at your local virtual event, and it does a great job. So if they're using AI, why doesn't the kids use AI? AI is taking over in the field of knowledge. The only place where we can make sure that we lead is how we think, by asking questions. You need to ask questions. I'm a fantasy author. I love fantasy. I think it's the best genre in the world. In December 2013, I was waiting for my matric results. And I said, you know what? I've got this great idea for a book of animals who are anthropomorphic and they can use swords and weapons and bow and arrows and they have wars and politics and all these things. This is a great idea. So I wrote the book and I submitted it to 22 plus publishers. All of them rejected me. Every single one. 22 publishers rejected me. I was in shock. Oh my gosh. I was convinced I was going to be rich. I was lied to. 22 publishers rejected me. And I knew, no man, this is a great idea. This is a great idea. And I thought, okay, what if I approach it a different way? So I wrote another book. 22 publishers rejected me. Then I thought, let me try this way. 22 publishers rejected me. 7 long years I struggled to find a book worth publishing. And then I started asking the right questions. What am I doing wrong? What if I tried it this way? What if I added more characters? What if I added more depth? What if I added more details? What if I planned it out a little bit better? And I was busy writing my 4th book at the time. I deleted everything, rewrote the book and submitted it. And that was the first book that I got published in 2020, 7 years later. It's now 2026. I have 16 books published. I'm a book coach. I'm a publisher. All because I started asking the right questions. The difference between a great idea and a winning idea is that winning ideas have answered the right questions. And if you want to get winning ideas continuously, you need to ask the right questions. And how do you do that? You need to know what the world needs. For example, let me show you what I mean. I came here today and I knew I'm going to speak. So I prepped myself. This is how I prepped myself for a speech. For 2 weeks I will sit and think. And that's all I'll do. I'll sit and think and I'll ask questions in my head. Sit and think and ask. And then 2 days before the time I'll type it out. And when I did that, I got all my research. I asked questions about who's going to be in the room. Who am I speaking to? What do they want to hear? How should I approach this differently? How do I tackle the problems at hand? What do I have to do? I asked all these questions. And I did my research and I figured certain things out. I know, for example, that there are 41 plus businesses here today. I know, for example, Carl Hancock is here. He is the co-founder of Ceravoid. How do I know? I asked him. I know Ilana Stein is here. She represents company partners. I know what she does. I know what she likes. I know where her passion is. How? I asked her. I asked questions. I know that UVU Africa is here. And UVU Africa is presented by Dr. Farana. Is Dr. Farana here? Not here right now.
Good question.
She's not here right now. But I know UVU Africa was supposed to be here. And UVU Africa used to be called the Cape Innovation and Technology Initiative. I know that Ciba University is supposed to be here. I don't know if they're here. I hope they are here. Anybody from Ciba? There we go. Ciba is here. I know that Ciba is a business school that provides scholarships to people who have no money to study. 7,500 scholarships have been given out since 2004 and 90% of their graduates are all employed. I know that because I asked questions and I went to go and research it. I know that Andrea from Speak Strong Studio is here. Is Andrea here? These people are not showing up. I wanted to say something cool about Andrea and I can't even prove it to her. But I did my research on who is supposed to be here and what I could say to them. It's very important that you understand who you're talking to and what kind of questions to ask. In this world, we must lead with questions. You must lead by how you think. It doesn't matter anymore about what you know because AI knows everything. When I first made my website, it was a long process. It took me 3 days to do my website. The other day I did a website in 10 minutes. I just put a prompt in AI and suddenly I had a website. Because AI can do everything. It doesn't matter anymore. You need to lead by how you think and what you can do. When I work with school kids, what do? I ask questions. I just came back from Vryburg in Northwest Province. We ran a teen entrepreneurship program, teaching them how do you start businesses with the limited resources you have. We don't give them answers. We teach them to ask the right questions. What is the problem at hand? How can I solve it with the minimal resources that I have? What are the opportunities available to me from where I am right now? These are questions that you let them ask themselves. Who's my audience? Who is affected by this problem? You teach them how to ask questions. I run matric camps. I facilitate matric camps and I teach them you need to ask questions. What do you want out of life? How are you going to get there? What is your plan? What are you willing to sacrifice? Teach them to ask questions. I'm a book coach. One of my clients, she is publishing, she's launching in July. Her book is already written, it was published already by February, and she wanted to launch. And I told her, hold on, we first need to ask questions. Tell me, if you had to launch the book right now, do you have an audience? Do you have the authority for it? Do you have people who are going to buy? How many sales do you expect? I had to ask questions and questions, and then eventually she said, can we keep working together for the next 6 months? And I said, yes, sure, let's work together. And then the first thing we did was, okay, let's build your audience. And I asked, who is your audience? Who's the target audience? In your book, what is the broadest possible audience that we can reach with your content? And then we created content for her. All our videos were doing 100 views on TikTok. That first video got 150,000 views because we asked the right questions. In 1 month, she went from 64 followers on TikTok to 5,000 followers. We asked the right questions. It's so important that you ask the right questions. We want to host her book launch in July, but we said, okay, before we do that, let's first make sure that we can turn all that new audience into fans and a community. So what we're going to do now is, in June, we're going to host 2 events, free community events. And we started doing the content for it, and we expected maybe 20 to 25 people per event. We already are going to double or triple that. Simply because we asked the right questions. When I work with businesses, all I do is I ask questions because they don't need me to teach them anything. I can give them all the answers. All I need to teach them is how do you ask the right questions to turn your great ideas into winning ideas. That's all you need. How do you ask the right questions to turn your great ideas into winning ideas? Where's the problem? What is the bottleneck? Figure out the problems that are in your head, figure out the problems that are in your business by asking the right questions. That is all that you need. In a world where AI is leading, the only thing you can do is ask questions. It is the only thing you can do. You need to lead by asking the right questions. That's the only way you're going to stand out. And I want to leave you with this idea. When you were young, 8, 9, 10 years old, you used to ask a lot of questions. Probably all the adults in the area were irritated by how much questions you used to ask. Maybe somewhere along the line, either through work or school or through the adults telling you to stop asking so much questions, you stopped asking questions. But I'm going to tell you that 8, 9, 10-year-old was the most imaginative, the most curious, the most compelling, intuitive person that you ever was. And that 8, 9, 10-year-old is still inside of you asking questions. All you simply need to do is allow that questions to be asked. Because once you start asking those questions, I guarantee you, having winning ideas will become predictable. It will become so continuous, so easy to develop winning ideas because you started asking all the right questions. I want to leave you with that. My name is Carl Sanchez, and I thank you for your time.